Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I am your host Tom Franklin, and today we have on Lyria. I hope I said that right. It's what we were talking about how our name's a little bit one off, and I've never heard it before. So I called her Lydia. I called her a myriad of different names that I probably shouldn't have. Lyria contacted me while I was on Magical Journeys podcast. By the way, Lyria, she's in the green room right now. He says hi. He told me to say hi to you. And she contacted me through email, and I thought it was Messenger. Tom was tired that day. I speak of myself in third person too much sometimes. Anyhow, if you keep finding yourself coming back to the I Jupiter podcast, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel, and do me a favor, like and subscribe to my buddy Jim's channel, Fisher Spam's Night Watch, and of course Magical Journey. These are my close friends, and Paul. This is going to come out in October, and Lydia, you're going to be Lyria. Again. It's going to come out in the beginning of October, so it's pretty cool. It's a spooky time of year, and so go over and check out Paranormal Paul. It is called the Paranormal Amoung Us. You can also sign up for that podcast. So these are all friends of mine, and we have a really close and podcast group of friends that we all help one another, especially when it comes to all this. All this technical stuff that I am not very good at. You can also find me on Rumble. You can also find me on Spotify. If you want to become a member, go ahead and click at the bottom. You get yourself some extra content and a little bit of background. I give you a little desktop background that I make personally just for you. And there's also, you can find t-shirts. You can also find my PayPal. All in the links links are found in the description below. So now, please welcome to the I Jupiter podcast, Lyria.
Hey.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
Is that a cat?
Yeah.
I've seen something moving past in the background. Yeah. I was like, all right.
Her name is Frida because she looks like she has one eyebrow across her forehead, like the artist.
Oh.
Like Frida Kahlo.
Oh, I might be somewhat familiar with it. I come from the world of like really hard metal, so I don't know all the.
Oh, me too. Don't get me wrong.
Okay. All right.
I got my first tattoo in the back of Korn's tour bus.
Okay, who gave it to you? Was it Head Monkey? Who was it?
Oh no, it was a tattoo artist they had on the bus.
Oh, okay.
And
I thought
really
Jonathan Davis was.
Because it's a fun story.
I thought Jonathan Davis was tattooing. Like,
I wish that would be even better. I would totally be okay with that.
Yeah. So, Lyria, please do me a favor. Tell me a little bit about yourself and where we can find you if you're promoting anything.
Let's see. I'm 41. And,
all right. Finally, someone is around my age. Yes. I'm 44.
Yes. I'm so proud to be in my 40s. I think mostly because I'm surprised I've made it. I mean, maybe just a little bit.
Fair enough.
I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've been a practicing witch for probably 25 years. Mm-hmm. I'm in the process of building a podcast, and so it's not out yet.
Okay.
But like working out the details.
Well, just let me know. And you can post it on the Facebook group. And
I know, because I would love to have you on my podcast.
Oh, well, I will come on your show. We'll take care of it. We'll get there first. If you have any questions,
I know. And Daniel at Magical Journey.
Hey, shout out to our buddy Daniel. Yeah.
And Fisher Spams. I mean, whoever wants to show up.
And Pam, our good buddy Pam.
Yes, and Pam. I love Pam.
That's fantastic. Also, so you're going to promote a podcast in the future. You've been a practicing witch for 25 years. Okay, now I do know that witchcraft encompasses a lot of things, and I know that their magic is neutral and universal, and it depends on your intention of what you do with it. So, what is it that you do with it, Lyria?
Well, I'm very eclectic. I usually don't really specify a path like other people do. I just say I'm a witch because it kind of just depends on my mood and what my interest is. I find all religion, all cultures beautiful. I love all rituals. I think all rituals are beautiful in their own way. But I would probably say mostly I'm a folk witch. I grew up in the Ozarks, so I'm like true hillbilly stock.
So Missouri.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh
Okay.
yeah, I'm from Kansas City. Sorry, I probably
Okay, I've been
put
there.
that as
I've
an
been to
intro.
Kansas City.
Like,
I've been
go
to Kansas
team.
City.
No. So
Oh,
that
that's
was right in the
today.
center.
That's today. They're playing against my team, the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, it's okay. I still love you.
So as soon as I'm done with this one, I'm going to go jump over and go see my friend who's also a Chiefs fan, and we're going to have a couple beers and watch the game at the sports bar.
Oh, cool.
So, okay, so
But,
for Ozarks, you consider yourself a folk witch. Yeah, please continue.
Mm-hmm. Because I grew up in the country, grew up in the Ozarks of Missouri. And at the time, I didn't realize what little like traditions my family had was magic until I was much older and started doing my own research and reading, different books about different things. So I'm like true hillbilly stock. Like my great grandpa spent a year in prison for moonshining in the backwoods.
Okay,
Like I'm
all right.
legit. Like I'm
okay.
legit like hillbilly. So when I was 18, I was like, I'm gonna move to the big city. And I came to Kansas City, and now I'm kind of like a hillbilly stuck in the hood.
Yeah,
But that's okay.
there's no video. I got accused of that so many times in Germany because I'm like, I'm pro speech and pro Second Amendment. And when I say that, people go,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're a hillbilly." Like, no, dude, I like freedom.
No, that's
Excuse
actually
me?
the person they're describing. Yeah, the person they're describing is a redneck, and that is significantly different. Okay.
Well, you do know.
Like,
Do you know the history of the name redneck and where it comes from? Don't you?
oh, I probably read it like years ago, but
The
I'm a
battle.
hillbilly.
It's called the Battle of Blair Mountain. It's where the I think there were coal miners, and they didn't get money.
Yeah.
They got script, and they can only buy from the store. And then they fought against the whole company, and I think like even part of the military. And they stormed up the hill, and they wore red scarves around their necks. So they're actually freedom fighters.
Oh wow. Oh, that's
so
cool.
and no wrong with being a redneck.
Well, hillbillies actually okay, like people don't like this word. I'm not saying it in a whatever way. I'm saying like hillbillies originally were like gypsies, and they would travel and they started like living up in the hills, and then eventually they settled, and that's how like the term hillbilly, like hill people, and it kind of just evolved like over time.
The Romana people,
like the Rom the show,
the Romas,
like the Rom the show,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, we're trying to be politically correct.
So yeah, I know. I'm sorry, people. Listen,
it's a joke.
I'm old.
It's a joke.
Do you not see like all of my gray hair? I can't remember everything. Okay, no, it's okay.
Oh man, I remember when I used to get called the R word and laughed.
I know, like things are so. Because like another thing you mentioned in that live that I was a part of, we had mentioned how like we're one of the last generations who had both. We lived before the internet, and we're living now in the internet. So we're like the last generation who has seen the evolution of technology. Like our generation has seen the biggest shift in evolution in technology than any other generation, like probably that we've had before. So probably not. Maybe like when they had like electricity in the wheel, but like we're it's pretty special because I don't know, like I remember like when I was a freshman in high school, the Columbine school shooting happened. By the time I was a senior year, it was 9/11. And back then these things weren't common. Like they weren't common.
Right.
They're common now.
Right.
And that's the problem. Like that's like the difference, Like I remember when I was little, we had to go outside and play outside. And if you wanted to drink, you turn on the water hose.
Get your ass outside. That's what my dad would tell me.
You were allowed to go inside twice. Once those 2 times was up, you're stuck in your room for the rest of the day.
Other than when your mom called you for supper. If your mom,
that was a free pass for everybody. Yeah, because
if you're not in earshot.
Yeah.
If you're not in earshot,
we had a whistle.
Behind.
We had a whistle.
Oh.
My grandpa got on that porch and I can't. You know what is so funny? I cannot whistle like that, but he would just stick his fingers in that mouth. I swear you could hear it 5 miles away.
Okay.
That was a
I
pawpaw
can do it.
whistle.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so your family's tradition is in magic, and you're from the hills of the Ozarks,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
yeah.
Well, like my family is like, they don't practice magic. They don't realize they're practicing magic, I think, is the thing. Because I just remember like growing up, well, we were very nature based compared, like my family compared to like everybody else. Like we went to a Pentecostal church. I mean, we were very much
Okay.
like, they were, well, not me, but like they were very much, very proud worshipers of, their church and everything, but it was very nature based, which I've always been a
Interesting.
nature baby. I've always loved nature. And as I grew, like when I became older and I started researching, I know this cat, she's so sweet. When I started
No, I was pointing at my
researching,
own background. I was pointing at my own background. I'm a very
oh,
nature oriented person myself.
oh yeah, your mushrooms. Yeah, I love it. Oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
ordered that shirt today.
Did you? Oh, I gotta go. That
Yeah,
means I have to go in there and make sure that
yeah.
I make sure that I go. It's okay for you. Oh, it's so sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I ordered it. So like I can wear it when I have my podcast. I can wear it. My buddy. Um, but I'm very much like a nature baby. But I just like, yeah. Oh, by the way, I probably have undiagnosed like adult
OCD.
ADD. Um,
Okay.
adult
Oh, the OCD,
ADD from like
Yeah.
probably like from like a trauma trait of
Yeah.
surviving my
Welcome to the club.
childhood. I don't know. Yeah. So it's like, so I warn people. I always say that spiel, like sorry, I have trauma, and it's like a trait. Okay, anyway, like I have like a bunny in a bush brain.
Don't worry about it. So we had a bit of a power outage, and we're back. You were talking about the Pentecostal church, your family, practicing,
Yes,
nature
and
oriented.
how
Yes.
yeah. So like they were very big in the Pentecostal church, and like I don't know, like they were supportive of like certain things that other churches were not supportive of, like, and especially my family, and then other things that really wouldn't seem like a big deal once you considered like what they believe in. Like they were like, oh no, that's not real. Like they believed in demons, but they didn't believe in ghosts.
Okay.
Like they believed more that like a demon, like an actual demon, could possess you like supernatural style,
That's like
than
believing in
like
them.
the
It's
fact
like
that like you just like
yeah.
saw a
It's like
ghost out of the corner of your eye in your room. Yeah. They
yeah. It's
would be
like
like, oh
believing in.
no.
It's like believing in the
Yeah.
moonwalk and not believing in the moon.
Yeah. So I always thought that was like odd.
Okay.
Like they, I mean, like my family believed in like things other people like wouldn't so easily like truly believed in. Like not like if I say I believe in that, probably 85% of the time I'm going to be sarcastic. If I say, I'm just like a sarcastic person, I'd be like, oh yeah, like, yeah, possessions, like, oh yeah, they're real. Ghosts, like that's how they were. And I'm like, okay. I just always
Okay.
thought it was strange. And then like the traditions that they would use, it ended up being like folk magic, like practicing like folk magic. It's found in the Ozarks, but it's mostly found, and when it's described, in the Appalachians,
Okay.
um like like mountain people, like how people kind of live off the grid, off on their own. It's a lot of like the traditions and the rituals that started like with those types of people, and just kind of evolved over time. But it's you find it more in like the Appalachians than you do in the Ozarks, but it's like the same. It's the same and different, but it's the same, like underneath the same umbrella of folk magic.
Okay. Fair enough.
So yeah, because the Ozarks and the
Just yeah. I can
Appalachians.
see you're
Oh,
very excited. Lyria,
sorry.
you're very just calm down. I
I'm
guarantee
sorry.
everything is just fine.
No, I
Take a
just
deep
like have
breath.
ADD. I just have ADD, and I can't sit still to save my life.
It's all good, baby. Don't worry about it. It's all good. I
All right.
promise.
I just can't sit still. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I'm
like
trying
you were
to.
talking. You were talking, and I
Yeah.
could see you're running out of breath. You need to stop and breathe for a second.
Oh, I like talk like that all the time. Well, because
Okay.
I'm a stay-at-home mom. No one talks to me all day. It's like I get seriously, I get to talk to like another human being. What?
Oh,
Like another adult? Listen,
fair
as
enough.
long as it's not about Monster High or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm all about
Yeah.
it.
All right, cool. Okay.
Like
So,
everything
so
else. It's
tell me,
crazy.
tell me a little bit about this folks magic. What can one experience or find out if they were to look into it?
Well, it's actually one of the few forms of magic that actually has a Christian base, kind of like Santeria, like it's a
Okay.
Catholic base, but like with a little like zhuzh, if you will, when it comes to the magic stuff.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so uh there's a great book like oh my gosh, what is it called? It's called Backwoods Magic. I have it on my phone, but it's called Backwoods Magic, and it's about like this amazing, it's about it's written by this guy who really knows what he's talking about. I
Okay.
felt so connected when I read his book, um because he he lived through it. Like this is like his family's history. Like in these
Okay.
when he's talking about what he's experienced with like folk magic and stuff like that, and he gives a great explanation. He dumbs it, like he doesn't dumb it down. I'm not saying dumb it down, but he explains it in a way that is easy for anyone to understand, whether you're experienced with magic or not.
Okay.
Um, I actually suggested this book. Where is it? This book to of course, like any other time, I'll be right there. She wanted to look into witchcraft, but she was afraid of like leaving her Christian faith
Who's
behind.
she?
And
Who is she?
oh, like a friend that I had.
Oh, your
Sorry, like
friend.
a friend
Okay.
that I had.
Hmm.
I suggested this book to a friend that I had
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
she wanted to look into magic, but she wasn't really ready to leave that Christian side of herself. And I'm like, girl, like you don't have to.
Just take it with you.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, this is just like I said, like Santeria, it's a Christian base with just a little zhuzh on top of it. And so she really likes it, and she's really yeah, oh here it is. It's called Backwoods Witchcraft, and it's by Jake Richards.
All
It's
right.
an
Shout out to Mr.
amazing book.
Richards. I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
actually
And
contact him.
then
Jake Richards. I'm gonna write him.
yeah, he's really cool. And he also he wrote another book that came out not too long ago.
I'm
Um
just gonna say that into my phone.
yeah, I think it's called like The Devil's Doctor or something. It's really good. Listen, like I think you would enjoy this book. Like you should really read it.
All right.
You would probably
Author Jake Richards.
uh
All right. There it is.
yeah. Because he
Okay.
wrote another book. I think it's called like Doctoring the Devil or
Okay.
something. Yeah,
Let's let's
yeah,
let's get
it's
into
really good too.
like how you got into it and what your practices are.
Um okay, well when I was a teenager, when I was 18, I decided to leave the little country town I was living in, and I moved to the city. Now you have to remember, I grew up in a tiny town, like no traffic light. We had horse and cart parking in the parking lot of our grocery store
That
because
sounds
we had
awesome.
a lot of Amish people in our
Okay.
community.
You're out near
So
Fort Leavenworth area, like south of that.
yeah, because I grew up. It's a tiny town called Humansville, Missouri. It's in
Humansville.
between,
That's a
yeah,
great
Humansville,
name.
because it was founded by James G. Humans in
I thought it was
1848.
founded by humans.
Right? It makes me think of like cannibalism, which is horrible because it's like my hometown.
No,
But I always think it's like
that's
that would be
fine.
like a good
Okay, all right.
movie.
You get me a little
It would be a
worried
good
now that we're
movie.
going to get into
No,
your.
no,
Okay,
I'm
so
just saying it would be like a good like horror movie, like Welcome to Humansville, and it's like everyone's cannibals. I'm just saying. Like if
just,
anyone makes movies, I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
saying that
you
could
got
be like an
ideas, all
idea.
right.
So when I came to this, so I grew up in a very, like out in BFE country town. So when I came to the city, I had a big culture shock because not only am I seeing things I've never seen before. Now I was very like open-minded. My grandmother really wanted me to have a different life than kind of the generational abuse like a lot of people in my family had got stuck in. So my grandmother worked really hard to change that for me. Um so like she, helped raise me, and my mother raised me and stuff. And but see, I know the grandmother that raised me is different from the mother that raised my mom. Um,
Okay.
so it was, so it was I was blessed to get to know a woman who finally found herself after living many, many years of not being herself because of
Wow.
circumstance, because of poverty. Like she was like sold off to the man who became her husband, didn't really love
That's
him.
very, very interesting because that happened to my grandmother as well.
Yeah. Well, because they were
Grandmother.
poor. Like my grandmother was my great grandparents. They were not married, which was a big no-no, and especially in the 30s, and
Oh,
especially
wow.
in the country. So they pretty much were treated like backwoods trash, and that just carried on, and
Okay.
like as time went on. Because these tiny towns, you always have that one area of town where like the untouchables, like the trash, like the lower,
Yeah.
like
And you also
lower
have that
class
area of
than we
town.
are.
And
Yeah,
you also have that one house
like
in
you don't want to
town
be
where the
caught
rich
over
guy
there.
is. Yeah, you got the
Yeah.
one house town where the rich
And
guy is too.
like my grandmother, like
There's
she
always
did not
that
wear
guy.
shoes. Yeah, she didn't wear shoes unless there was snow on the ground. She went to school in
Okay.
a one room schoolhouse. Um and so she had it rough. She had it really rough, and she had to kind of make do with what the cards that life had dealt her. But when it came to by the time I came to be born, she realized she could have changed her deck. Like she didn't have to do those things that was expected
Okay.
of her, because back then women didn't have a choice. You did what you were told, pretty much is
Okay.
the culture, especially a country culture. Like, no, you're not going to dream to like become a nurse and go help people in the war. No, like your job is to get married and to have kids. Like, period.
Okay.
So when she
And she
raised
was
me,
instrumental. Right.
and
I'm
so
sorry.
when
Just
she,
trying to
oh, no, you're
lead the
fine.
conversation.
Oh no, yeah, no, you're fine. No, I'm sorry. So when she raised me, she really instilled in me to be my own person and to have my own opinion, even though, even though, you know, our family had the standards of like your man, like your husband's your boss. And even now, I have uncles and aunts who have nothing to do with me because I don't follow, um, that lifestyle. I did things unconventionally. But so when I became
Okay.
18, I moved to Kansas City because I was going to move to the big city. So I saw like drag queens. I saw people from every ethnicity. Kansas City is a true melting pot. People do not realize that we have so many immigrants from so many different countries. Like I live in the center of the city, and my block alone, I
Okay.
can visit the world like walking down my block. I have a neighbor from Kenya. I have a neighbor from
Okay.
Vietnam. I
Okay.
have a neighbor.
No, I'm sorry, Lyria. I'm
Oh,
not trying
I'm
to be
sorry. No,
rude
I'm
or anything.
sorry.
Let's
Uh-uh.
let's go. Let's get to
Yeah,
it a
I
little bit.
get
Let's get to
like,
it just a little bit more,
yeah,
please. Yeah, yeah. You're a
yeah. I'm sorry.
conversationalist, and
I'm
yeah,
ADD.
that's
I'm
fine.
telling you, I'm
I'm
ADD.
just trying to
No, I'm
lead
so
it in a
sorry.
little bit, just a little bit.
Okay. So when so like Kansas City being like the true like melting pot that it is, I saw a lot of different kinds of people for the very first time. And I moved
Okay.
into this like crappy little one bedroom apartment like above a bar because I was hot stuff. I was in the city. I could live above a bar. Worst experience of my life. It was crazy. And the girl who lived across the hall, she was really cool. She had hot pink hair. She had everything pierced on her face. I thought she was the coolest thing alive, covered in tattoos, and her apartment was like decorated so cool, and I was like so jealous of it. It was all like witchy stuff and Halloween stuff, and I just thought it was like the coolest place on earth. And so one day she said, "Do you want to go out with me?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean? Like, do you want to go out?" She's like, "I meet with a group of women. I think you'd have a lot of fun." And it was a coven meeting. And I didn't
Oh wow.
realize that until like I went for a couple months. And then they said something about this coven meeting. And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's a coven meeting." And I said, "Are you a witch? Like a real witch?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "No, that's like not real. Like people can't really be witches." And so she was like, "Oh, baby, yes, we can." And so she kind of help start that journey into like, she gave me some books to read, and then I loved it. And then I went and read more and more. And then the more I read, the more I realized, hey, like a lot of this stuff like is in my family's traditions. And I think like there's a history of magic in my family. And
Okay. And when
so,
you getting into magic, you start so walk with like so what is like
mhm.
so I don't know how it works. I don't know if I'm going to use words that are probably incorrect, and please correct me if
Oh
I'm
no,
wrong.
you're fine.
If
Yeah.
you're doing like an incantation, if you're doing some type of quote unquote spell, even
Hmm.
spelling, grammar,
Yeah.
grimoire, I understand that. Those things I do
Yeah.
understand. So what is like the things that you do? Do you try to look deeper into something or try to make a connection with something? What is it that you do when you're doing your witchcraft, for lack of a better
Um,
word?
well, like when I'm doing my witchcraft, this is like what I tell people. When this is just my opinion, okay? Like I think for a witch, well, like when I do a spell, it's usually not really your typical spell. Like for me, spells and rituals, that's my form of prayer, in this path that I'm on. Um, so I don't do a lot of rituals per se. I do rituals like to protect my home, like protect my children. I usually do those like every couple months, kind of um like changing the batteries in your smoke detector. I kind of
Okay.
do a brush up like little, protection spell or protection ritual every couple months. Um but yeah, like I usually just I do a lot of meditation.
Okay.
I do like a lot of like runes, tarot cards. I'm kind of like more like a messenger, really.
Okay.
I just pick up on things, pick up on messages, pick up on memories, and then I'll just start talking about them. And usually, someone in the room's like, "Hey, that happened to me," and I'm like, "Okay, I guess
Do you
it's for
get do
you."
you
Like,
do you get a lot of deja vu?
oh yes, a lot. Oh yes.
Okay.
A lot of the deja vu I get is from dreams. I'll have a dream. I'll dream about people. I have like crazy dreams. I'll dream about so many different kinds of people. And
Uh huh.
a lot of the dreams I had when I was younger, I've ended up meeting the people um, in those dreams, that I had the
Wow.
deja vu from. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
it's not deja vu from like a day to day experience. It's
Yeah.
literally deja vu of remembering a person's face from a dream. Because I'm a very
Wow.
lucid dreamer. I know when I'm dreaming and when I'm not. I'm in control
Wow.
of my dreams. Yeah. So, like, if like a monster shows up, I can make myself have something to defeat it, like in my
Okay.
dream.
Yeah. I was thought my friend
Yeah.
Neil can go like this and go, and it just disappeared.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
he's very powerful as a dreamer.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
interesting.
So,
And do you do this to like as a benefit to yourself as well as others? Do you like help people who are being like maybe maybe being attacked by a demon or being in a haunted
Oh
house and
yeah.
feeling
Oh
uncomfortable?
yeah. Like I prefer only to help people.
There
Like
you
now
go. Okay,
listen,
so
I'm not bashing anyone's free choice or free like the practice of whatever they want, but I personally I don't do like baneful magic. I don't mess with curses, hexes,
okay,
none of that. I'm not one like to do that because that stuff can turn around on you so fast. Mm-mm.
right. That's what
I
my
got
buddy. That's
enough.
what.
Like I got enough. Okay, like I don't need to add like you know
Yeah,
other
my
realm
friend,
stuff
I
to
was
like
being
the
attacked. I
world
was
I
being
live in
attacked
now.
recently. I was recently being attacked by someone
Mhm.
through this show. We were not going to mention names, but my
Uh huh.
buddy Magical, Daniel, he was like, "Don't worry
Mhm.
about it, dude. I got your back." And he doesn't understand your bloodline, and who you are, because he believes I'm also something, maybe
Mhm.
shamanic or something. I'm not quite sure. And then he
Yeah.
doesn't know your girlfriend's bloodline, which is Mayan. So,
Mhm.
and
Oh
so that
yeah,
night
and like.
I had a bad dream, and then
Mhm.
she had a bad dream too, where a snake entered the house, and she's like, I
Oh
seen
yeah, I
it.
remember you like sharing that
Yes,
on that live. Yeah. Oh
yes,
yeah.
pretty
Now, when we're
incredible.
getting into stuff like that, I've had some pretty crazy experiences with stuff like that.
Okay,
Let's see. I'm trying to think of the best one. Okay, well, I can give you the aha moment where I
okay,
knew 100% the paranormal was real.
okay.
Like, okay.
Go for it.
Now,
Let's go.
I was always open minded to it, right? I always believed in it, even though, I mean, I may not 100% believed because I hadn't seen anything yet, but I truly believed the people when people share their encounters or their experiences, yes, that's real. Whether it's real out here, it's real to them. So I
Right.
always kind of would like take things with a grain of salt or just like, that had to be terrifying for you, even if it wasn't real. Like if you imagine a demon attacking you, yeah, that's going to be hard. It would be like very distressing. But okay, so I always believed, but nothing really happened to me, not that I know of or that I can remember. But I was 22 years old and I had just had my oldest son, who's 19 now. Uh, uh, I was living with like my boyfriend, his dad, and we were living in the boyfriend's aunt's house. She had a house, and it's in an older part of North Kansas City, a very historic part of North Kansas City. Um, is it raining there too?
It is. Welcome to the
Yeah, it's
tropics.
raining here. No, it's raining here. I could hear it, but I
Yeah, it
couldn't tell if it was yours
is.
or mine because we have a
This is.
thunderstorm.
I'm in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico,
Yeah.
so this is the rainy season.
Oh,
So
I
every
love it there. I
you've been
love
here
it
before.
there. Oh, I've been lucky enough to do some traveling. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Like
cool.
my partner's from El Salvador.
Okay.
So, so
Yeah,
we when I have
my
some
baby's from
stories.
Mexico, baby.
Ooh, I have some stories he's told me. Like, I would love for your wife and for him to like talk in Spanish about these
Oh yeah.
stories they have.
Oh,
Yeah.
she knows, not my wife, my girlfriend, but she knows a
Yeah.
lot about a lot of stuff that she's read
Yeah.
into.
Because he's told me some like crazy stuff and he's
Yeah.
very much a non-believer. So like if he's saying it, like he really thinks it happened or he saw it. Like it's crazy. But
Okay, so you're
okay, so I was
22.
22. Yeah, I was 22. I just had my son. He was at this time, he's probably like a month or two old. But the second my son was born, I could feel a difference wherever we went. I felt like there would be 100 people in the room when there wasn't. It would just be me and this baby. I just felt like I felt crowded. I felt uncomfortable. Um, I just couldn't explain it. Like it was just a very uneasy feeling in this home. Very uneasy. So the first night it started, um, we're all asleep. My son has a little like bassinet crib thing by our bed that we're sleeping in, because we have one room in this basement. And I'm laying there and I'm suddenly jerked awake because I feel like someone's pulling something out of the top of my head. I know they're not pulling my hair. It doesn't feel like someone's pulling my hair. But whenever they're pulling, I just feel drained. I feel like, I
Oh,
feel like
oh,
they're taking my energy. I feel like they're
okay.
pulling something important from my core. So I
Okay.
wake up. I wake up my boyfriend at the time. I check on the baby. Like, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. I'm like, this is so uneasy. Like, and I'm like, well, so I'm trying to chalk it up to like a circumstance. We're in a basement. Maybe it was a spider web that just rubbed me funny and I'm asleep and I thought, it was something else. Or maybe it's like a spider. I tried to chalk it up to something that made sense, because how do
Okay.
you describe to someone like this feeling, because I'm like, that's not real. So the very next night, my boyfriend and I come home and we entered the house through the back door. So you had to go through a backyard. Now it had lighting, but the lighting was more for ambiance and decor rather than function. But like if someone was back there, you could tell they were back there, but it wasn't like they were like lit up. So we go around to the back door, and I have my son in his little, infant car seat carrier,
Uh-huh.
and um I hear the gravel rustle right in front of me.
Okay.
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 I don't see anything. Because again, it's not that it's completely dark, but it's not exactly lit up. Um, okay, hold on. Uh, so I hear the gravel rustle, and then all of a sudden, it was like out of a movie. It just kind of started like a spot right here, like at eye height, and it stop. My cat was by the door. I'm sorry. Quitch. So it kind of started to go like this, like filling out, like a speck was overflowing and filling up, and all of a sudden I have someone in front of me. And it happened really fast. I mean it happened within seconds. And the person was, they had to be like right here. I could see the outline. I could see
Uh-huh.
the outline of details, but I can't like see a face. Quit. I can't see a nose. I can't see a mouth. I can't like see anything like that. All I see is the outline of what it looked like an old soldier's cap, like very squarish on top, right?
Okay.
And then you could see it was like the silhouette of a man's face, very like broad shoulders. And then the outline, you could tell it was like a cuffed shirt, like an
Right.
old army uniform. The same with the pants. So I'm trying to muster up the strength to open my mouth and say something because I'm just frozen in fear. Because I just watched someone like appear in front of me. Like I'm freaking out. Then
Right.
just as fast as he appeared, he steps back from me backwards. I can hear the gravel rustle. But if he's that close to me, I would have been able to, like, if it was a person, he was close enough, I should have been able to see their face. Even with like this crappy lighting back there, I would have been able to see
Right.
it was like a person. I hear the gravel rustle. He takes 2 steps away from me. He kind of turns like this, looks at me like that, and then just disappears just as fast as he appeared.
Wow.
I That was my aha moment. Like, okay, like I believe it.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I had my first one at 8. I was 8, and I got smashed
yeah,
into it. So it's
yeah,
it's 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 people who've never had those experiences always kind of like want to cast doubt upon those, and you're seeing
yeah.
things, and you don't know which.
Oh
It could
yeah,
be the
my
wind and this,
grandmother.
but when it happens, it's undeniable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because my grandmother was not a believer in the paranormal. She's not a believer in ghosts. And when my great grandmother died, she was on the phone with somebody saying, "Oh, I don't believe in ghosts and she's not going to come back and visit me." And she said the second she said that, she saw the perfect silhouette of a shadow of my great grandmother just walk across the room. Like,
Yeah, she
girl,
great
don't prove me
grandmother's like,
wrong.
I'm
Got you.
right
Like,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So that was, yeah, that was my
Okay.
aha moment.
We'll have on in the future. I have on in the future to get a little bit more into that. But you said that I just want to kind of we're going to do like a spattering of this, a spattering of that, because you kind of told
Yeah,
me you had a
that's
lot of
fine.
different experiences. Maybe
Mhm.
we can get into. You said you've had a cryptid encounter. Could you explain to me maybe what you saw?
Yes. Now, I don't know if it was a cryptid or if it was an alien. All I know is I've done a lot of research and I've done a lot
They're a
of
lot
research
closer. They're a lot closer together than you might
about
think sometimes.
well, I've done a lot of research about goblins, about these goblins that seem to travel through the cave systems of like the Ozarks and then the Appalachians,
Not
because
just
the
goblin,
Ozarks and the Appalachians are connected underground,
of
even though we're
course.
like states away from each other.
Oh, hundreds of
And
miles.
yeah, so because I remember like when I was little, my great grandmother used to tell us not to go play by a certain creek because there was this little cave and that like by this creek that everybody would try to like go play in. You know, like teenagers would go there to make out and like drink and do teenager things. But we were
Okay.
always told not to play there because the little people would come and get us. That's what she would tell us. So we
Okay.
had no idea what she meant. Yeah. But I was an adult. I had gone back to my hometown for like some type of like holiday or something. And I think it was Thanksgiving and it was because it was in the fall because it was like crunchy leaves. And we were walking by the creek, that has this cave that everyone's like, oh, like when we were little, you can't go in. And so at the time I was like with a boyfriend, and so I was telling him the stories of like why we couldn't play in this, in this cave and play down by this specific creek. And I said, she always said the little people would get us. And he goes, well, do little people have three toes? And I said, well, what do you mean do the little people have three toes? And he goes, look, and we saw all these footprints of,
Oh
okay, now
my
I'm a
God.
country girl. Yeah, listen, I'm a country girl. Okay. I was raised on a farm. I know what turkeys' footprints look like. I know
Yeah.
what
So
chickens look like,
yeah.
geese, ducks. This did not come from a bird. Did not come from a bird.
Okay.
And so we were like following them, like, because they kind of went in every direction. So we're trying to follow them to see if we can find a main direction, like that they're going. Cause I'm like, I want to know what they look like. Like, if there's three toes, I'm interested.
Okay.
And so, because we're being funny,
Right.
because I'm at the moment, I'm probably like, oh, it probably is some type of duck or something. But I'm like, let's go. We're having fun. Like, let's go, follow these footsteps and see what it brings us. And so we're following them and we kind of find like a bunch of
Right.
them. I mean, it's not just like two. Whatever it is has friends with it. Because
It's
there's
a
like
gaggle.
two this way and two this way. Like everyone, yeah, like it was like a whole bunch of them. So we find this like group of them that are kind of going in the same direction. So we're kind of going a little bit deeper into the woods. And so then all of a sudden we hear all these twigs snapping. Like one right after the other. It is loud. At first, I thought we were being shot at, because there's hunters, people hunt down there
Yes.
and
Yes.
stuff. And I'm like, that's not a gunshot. And I'm like, what is that noise? And we just kept hearing it. I mean, it was like, like,
Okay.
but we just couldn't figure out what it was. It was loud. And then we stepped on a couple branches and it made that same sound. And
Okay.
we were like, no. So like whatever it was, I think it realized we were looking for it. And I mean, it happened. I mean, it was like a good 5-6 minutes of all these branches like snapping. And then
Okay.
eventually it was more out in the distance. So I never saw it, but I'm pretty sure it was enough to scare me to think that whatever it was
There's a lot of
Was the
there's a
owner
lot of
of
things here
Ocean Spring.
too with little people. They call them Aleutians and caves. When people run across these things, they get fevers. And the stuff
Yeah.
you talking
Oh
about
yeah.
stuff you've heard. I've heard
Like
some
they're very,
crazy.
they're
Yeah, because it's
very, yeah.
a. Is your you said your significant other's from San Salvador? Is he? Did you
El
say San
Salvador.
Salvador? El Salvador. Excuse me. San Salvador is the
Mhm.
capital.
That's
um,
okay.
hey, I'm okay. Is he? I know that it goes through Guatemala and part of Nicaragua. I don't think Nicaragua. I can't say that word correctly. Nicaragua. Okay, my lady
Nicaragua.
told me
Yeah.
Nicaragua. Is he Mayan as well?
I don't know. He's never said
Oh,
anything, but I've never really asked him. I should ask him. I should be like, hey, because
because I hear a lot
uh,
of Mayan folklore here, and I hear the Mayan language
yeah,
more often than you think. Because there's, I would say,
yeah,
30% of the people here can still speak Mayan. So
yeah.
it's pretty wild
It's
when you hear it. It's
definitely a
like you're
lost
listening to
culture.
an ancient like mysterious language, and it's such
Yeah.
an incredible thing to like hear. And
Oh
go
yeah,
to the
I love it.
pyramids and
I
the
love it.
ruins. There's ruins everywhere. They're on the side of the highway. I was driving back from Merida, and my girlfriend's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, there's some ruins
Oh,
over
I
there." And
love
you're
it
like, "Oh
because
my god,
yeah.
it's pretty wild."
I know, it's so pretty. Like, it's just, well, one, like, Mexico is beautiful regardless. Like, not the touristy stuff. Really see
No,
Mexico and you see the
you have to
beauty
go to
of
the
it.
real Mexico,
Yeah.
not
Because,
behind
like, when
not
I
behind
went
the
to these
gates.
places, yeah, I wasn't, like, in a resort. No, I was staying in, like, normal folk people's homes, like
Yeah,
taking a
yeah,
shower where they take a shower. Yeah,
yeah.
I
With the
loved
with the
it.
really good with their awesome water pressure.
Yeah, Cuba didn't have running water when I
Okay.
went. And they had some type of ban on paper products. So there
Mm.
was no toilet paper, no sanitary napkins for women, like
Oh wow.
no paper
Okay.
towels. Yeah, it was like yeah, I was surprised by that, but I mean like I was there. What was I gonna do? Go home? So
Yeah.
I'm just like, so
I
like
can't
if
I
you
can't
have
wipe my
like
butt. Give
toilet
me a
paper,
plane
like what do you
immediately.
do? Yeah. So I had to ask somebody, but they didn't make me feel bad because I'm, from a different country.
So you had that
So
paranormal
they just
encounter with the
explained.
gentleman with the soldier who kind of you know you know
Yeah,
what do you
like he
say
appeared and
just
then he
formed in front of you. Then you had
yeah.
this strange cryptid counter. You
Mhm.
don't know if it's aliens. Why would you think it's aliens? What you heard out there at the creek? Why would you maybe? Why would that cross your
Oh,
mind?
because aliens are very attracted to the Ozarks. I know I've seen UFOs. I know I've seen UFOs. I'm actually
Okay, what do you
afraid
mean?
to
What do you mean
even
by
get
you know?
inside.
What do you mean by you know?
Um,
If you
I know I've seen their UFOs. Like they're big, like circular discs. They will float really slow. Like it's not an airplane, it's not a helicopter, but it's out in the middle of nowhere. So there's no one else to really see it. So the few
okay,
people who have seen these things, they're very isolated in the town because no one else, it's very rare for someone to actually see them.
okay,
But for years and years and years and years in this town, there's been so many records of so many encounters of people reporting UFOs, people reporting seeing aliens and stuff like that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. But I know
and
the
I'm
Ozarks are
afraid to
they
be
have
hypnotized.
that.
I'm convinced I've been abducted. I'm convinced I've been abducted because
Okay,
I woke up
and
with weird marks.
you're afraid of having you're afraid of having. Oh, you woke up with what? With marks?
Yeah, I have like these freckles. I don't know. They're not really freckles, and you probably, but like they showed up like right here, and they go one, two, three in a perfect triangle. One day one showed up. The next day a second dot showed up. The third day the third dot showed up, and it's like something hard. It's hard. I've
Okay,
had an X-ray. I've had
I
an
was going to ask
X-ray.
you that.
You can see the triangle it makes, but they can't figure out like what it is.
They don't know if it's metallic or whatnot.
Yeah, and they don't want to mess with it because it's like right here, like on my neck. So
Right.
they don't want to which I don't
Oh,
want them
that's
to either.
interesting. That's interesting. And
Yeah,
if
because
anyone's listening to this,
I used to have a crippling fear of aliens, right? Because I would see these UFOs, it would terrify me. It wasn't, like now I would be like, woohoo, like UFO. No, I was like terrified. And then once these marks showed up, I would have these weird dreams where I would feel like somebody was shining a flashlight on my face. Like in
That's
real
interesting.
life, I felt like somebody would was shining a light in the room, and I would wake up thinking, well, who's like has like this bright light? Like, is it a neighbor with their car or
Wow.
something? And I started having those dreams. These dots showed up, and whatever fear I had, I just
Went
woke
away.
up one day without it. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I was
after these
terrified.
after
After
after the
these
thing
dots showed
hold
up.
on 1 second, Lyria. After the thing showed up on your neck, after that, your fear, your PTSD of what was happening when you were younger went away.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
I
it.
have like now you could put an alien in front of me and I probably wouldn't even care. It's weird.
You've been, you
It just the switch flipped and
wow.
I don't know why. So I'm like, did they
I
abduct me? Did they abduct me and fix it? Like I
I
don't
have
know.
more of a fear for, like, for me it's more like disembodied voices. I don't want to hear those. I would rather see an apparition walk in front of me. I've seen Hat Man. I've seen Hat Man
Hmm.
before. That
Yeah.
and my friend who just came on the episode before this says, I remember when you saw that and how like weirded out you were by that. I had to have somebody
Oh
like go, yes, I remember I was there. I was like, you were there when I seen that. He's like, yeah, that's me.
yeah.
So they don't really bother me so much. The shadow that pops up in the corner of your eye and goes around the room and all that one bugs me a little bit. But disembodied voices, they freak me
Yeah,
out.
because they're creepy.
Bigfoot a little bit,
Yeah.
Dogman completely terrified. Don't want to see him. Yeah, they're creepy. They're creepy. You're
Yeah.
like sitting there chilling, and next thing you know, you're like, oh my god, I think I just seen something, and then it's not
Yeah.
there,
It makes
but you
you
feel it too.
and I it also is more fearful because if this isn't what I think it is, then there's something really wrong with me. I think that's why disembodied voices scare people a lot more than
Yes,
like seeing someone because it's like, okay, if I didn't hear that, then something's wrong with me. But have you ever been touched?
right.
Have
That's
you
good.
ever been
Yes,
yeah,
yep, yep. One
yeah.
time on my chest
You've been
while I was
touched.
laying in a bed. Yes, at 8.
Have you ever had anything go through you? Like walk through you?
No, not that I
Yeah, it
remember.
makes you
No,
puke. It made me puke. I had
really.
someone walk through
Well,
me. Hmm. Um,
oh, that's interesting. Hold on 1 second, please. That's
yeah,
very interesting, and I say that because I've heard a lot of Bigfoot encounters or dogman encounters, and they call it being zapped or infrasound, and they say that after that they get nauseous, sick, feverish, and that's the same thing I'm running into here, where people are running across these Aleutians or like a Cupid type little homunculus type forest entity.
yeah.
It's very interesting. It makes you sick. Could you maybe go through that a little bit and tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, oh, like when the entity went through me, or when the entity touched me.
The one that made you nauseous, the one that went through you.
Oh, okay. So I was in a paranormal investigation with like my friend has had a team. It's not together anymore, but this was like years ago when like Ghost Hunters was first popular, and so they were gonna gaggle up and be a ghost hunting team. And so they invited me to come with them. I wasn't a part of the team. Why they invited me, I think because they just knew I liked that kind of stuff. So they
Okay.
invited me, and we have a lot of abandoned mansions here in Kansas City,
Okay.
abandoned like hospitals. We have a lot of abandoned buildings that doesn't have much security, and it's like so easy to go investigate these places. So there's an abandoned hospital in Liberty, Missouri, and it has like a really dark history. It used to be a sanitarium. It used to be just a regular nut house. Like it was just all kinds of like not good things when it was thriving. So we go there, and I have a recorder. I have like a little tape recorder. Um, and I'm just walking around, like being quiet and just kind of listening to everything. Like I'm not really participating, but I'm there just observing. And so someone said, "Oh, hey, like someone just touched me in here. I know someone just touched me." So everybody runs to this room, and we're like asking this girl, like they're asking, like someone else is asking the girl, like, what happened? Like, and she's like, oh, like it touched me, like it felt really cold. I felt like ice was going through my arm. I think they just put their hand on my arm. And so I'm sitting there listening to this, and all of a sudden I feel kind of like something really cold, like in the beginning of my chest, and then it kind of just went all over me. And then I felt it really hardcore in my back, like really hardcore in my back. I think they came from behind. Um,
Okay.
so I'm sitting there and I feel like I can't breathe, and like I feel super cold. Like it was not. I mean, it was a very scary experience, and I'm trying to say something because there's all these people in the room and no one's looking at me because they're talking to the girl who said she had been touched, and I'm trying to get a breath out and I'm trying to talk, and then it was just like a huge gust of wind, just like blew from the back of me and just kind of went like this real hard, and like I jerked. I remember my body jerked, and then I just felt super dizzy. I puked. I had like a horrible headache. And then I mean, it was just like I did not feel good. It was not, you know, fun. And so I, was sick. So I went home, and then the very next day, my friend who had invited me to come, she said, "Do you realize what happened to you?" And I said, "No, I don't." She said, "I have the footage." She
Oh
goes, "I
wow.
have the footage of what happened to you." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Someone walked through you." She goes, "You could see it." She goes, "They're not outlined perfectly." She said, "But you can see a black shadow that sits at your back, and eventually it goes through you."
Oh
She
wow.
said,
I love you.
all of
Send
us
it.
sat there and watched it.
Do you have that footage that you can send me?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll see if I can find it. Like, it's been like 20 years ago.
Oh, if you can
So
find
who
it and
knows?
send it to me, I'll add it on.
Yeah,
If you can
if I
find
can
it, no
find it, I'll
pressure.
send it to you.
I'll add
Yeah.
it on to the end of the episode. That would be really cool. That way people get
Yeah.
to see
I'll send
that
it to you.
experience. I mean, you say the
Mhm.
experience, you have it on video. Let's get it out there.
Oh,
That
yeah.
sounds
I
awesome.
know. That would be great. Yeah.
The
But
next time,
a lot of, oh no, go ahead.
yeah, I'm sorry, Lyria. The next time I'm going to have you on here, I want to go more into the witchcraft. I want to go more into your how you do it, um,
Hmm.
what you do with it. Have you had any
Hmm.
experiences with people who do it, say, on the dark side? And what
Hmm.
experiences that maybe they've confided in you, maybe changed over? Just like get into it a little bit more. We kind of did a lot
Hmm.
more background stuff, so like we'll just call this like maybe part one,
Hmm.
and if that's okay
Oh,
with
like
you.
you're willing to have me back? What?
I'll have you back. It's going to be a little later on, but I'll have you back.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll have you
no,
back
like,
on like in a
aw.
month and a half, something like that. That way,
I
people
would be
and I'll
honored,
call.
sir. I would be
That
honored.
would be
You can
cool.
have me
We're
back
just we're
anytime
gonna
you want.
yeah, that'd
Anytime
be
you
cool
want.
because you love you're a good conversationalist. We're gonna we'll get I just want to get into it a little bit more because I've been like my friend is like my girlfriend, her aunt is like self-professed like dark witch. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
and she was like, no, I don't want to do that because she said that she has the ability to do so, and she says I don't want anything to do with it. Then my buddy
Yeah.
um, Daniel, Magical Journey, is a green witch, and I would
Mhm.
consider you, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I do not want to offend you. A white witch,
Oh, no, you're fine. A what?
or a white witch, or a folks witch. You consider
Oh,
yourself,
yeah.
correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Like, I fit into
I would
those
love to get into
categories, like, very well. Mhm.
and I would love to get into like the history of it a little bit more. Maybe get into like some of the things that separates folk magic from, say, maybe
Like, other types of
European
magic?
magic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
European magic,
definitely.
maybe Celtic magic, all
Mhm.
those kind of things. Because you
Mhm.
seem to be very
Yeah.
knowledgeable about those things. And I had a power outage. You had a situation where you had to go to the bathroom. So it's been one of those episodes. We got a
Yeah.
thunderstorm.
Okay. The
It's a
bathroom
great Pigeon
thing,
River outside this window in
yeah.
front of me here,
The bathroom, I think, was
and the
just my
dog
old lady
barking. It's been
bladder.
one.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
When
because
I get
see,
nervous, I got to go to the bathroom a lot too. So
yeah. Well, no, that's just all the time because I like had three human
okay.
beings evicted from my body at one point.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. They did the Fred Flintstone on your bladder on the way out. Yeah, I understand.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I
pretty
want to thank you
much.
so much for coming on. I know it might seem kind of abrupt, but it just
Oh
seemed like we
no,
ran out
like
of
I
time.
had a
It's
great
such an odd
time.
thing.
I had a great time, and I would love to come back if like you're willing to have me come back, and
Sure,
we could talk about all kinds of
sure.
different things.
That's great.
Um,
I would love that as well.
yeah, like I'm
So just
excited.
do me a favor.
Hmm.
Yeah, baby, don't worry about it. Do me a favor. I'm going to put
Hmm.
you at the bottom. I got the outro to go through, and I just want to
Hmm.
see where the recordings are. You can just wait for me about 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much, and
Yeah.
thanks for coming on
Mhm.
again. And one more
Oh,
time,
no
your
problem.
name is Lyria.
Oh, it's Lyria
You called yourself
Witch.
Lyria Witch, and you're going to be
Yeah,
starting a
Lyria
podcast soon. You got a
Witch.
name? You
Yeah.
got a name?
Um, yeah, Hillbilly in the Hood.
Hillbilly in the Hood. All right, fair enough. So
Yeah.
we'll be looking forward to that, and whenever that gets released, I'll have you on, and then we can start
Hmm.
doing. We can do it again. That way, we can promote that as well. Okay?
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So
Don't
thank
worry
you.
about it. That's fine. You're welcome. Okay, hold on one second. So, so that was Lyria. She's going to have a podcast coming out soon enough. I don't know how many times she's been on the podcast before, but she seems to be relatively new. But that doesn't matter. I'm still new to it as well. And if you guys are new to this channel, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. And remember, as always, welcome to the Eye of Jupiter podcast. And remember, we are the Eye, and we are aware. Love you all very much. Good evening.